Kildare County Council Healthy Ireland Programme 2020 is providing a range of resources and programmes to support local wellbeing and to help our citizens to get through the COVID-19 crisis through a range of activities and initiatives across 5 areas. These areas are staying active, keeping connected, switching off, eating well, and minding your mood. Des Murta and I, Paddy Madden, are providing a series of online material in the areas of gardening and engagement with nature for this initiative from December to March. We hope you enjoy this, the first of our 4 presentations, and that you benefit mentally and physically from our work. So activity 1 for December is very, very seasonal. It's stratifying holly berries. Now, holly berries can be propagated from fresh berries or ones that have been displayed all over the Christmas and might look a little bit off, but they will germinate. Patience is all that is needed because it takes 18 months for the seed to germinate. They need to be subjected to the cold of 2 winters outdoors for this to happen. So seeds placed in pots now will germinate in the spring of 2022. Gardening does teach patience. To start the process of stratification, find a pot and place some pebbles or grit in the bottom for drainage. Then you mix the berries with horticultural sand at a ratio of 3 sand to 1 berries. 3 of the mixture to 1 of the berries. So you mix them up like this. Now some people remove the flesh and macerate it. That's taking off the skin and the flesh, and it's supposed to help with the germination process, but I find it sometimes a little bit tedious, especially when you're in a hurry. So I just mix them up like this and they will do fine. You could put layers of sand and a layer of holly berries and a layer of sand and a layer of holly berries as well if you wanted to. So all you do is just mix them like that and put them in the pot. It's wonderful to germinate your own little holly trees. So when you're finished and have all your holly's berries mixed with sand, all you have to do is label the pot. That is very important, to put the date on it here, so that when you are out in the garden you know exactly what you have, and put the name on it like this. In April 2022, empty the pot gently and remove the little seedlings. They will have germinated by then, hopefully. Place these separately, the little seedlings, into 8 centimetre pots of peat-free compost and leave in a shady, sheltered place. Then in autumn, transplant the seedlings into 13 centimetre pots of peat-free compost. It's good practice to propagate native hollies from seed. Many fine mature specimens have been destroyed for the Christmas market. You will need a large flower pot, some damp horticultural sand, holly berries, a plastic bucket, handle of brush or spade, some chippings, disposable plastic gloves, some fine wire mesh. Macerate the berries using the broom handle and also by hand. Store the mixture of seed, flesh and skin. The viable seed will fall to the bottom. Sieve the mixture. Cover the chippings with a layer of damp sand. Stratify alternate layers of sand and seed to within 5 centimeters of the top of the pot. Cover the pot with mesh to deter mice. Leave the pot in a shaded place for about 16 to 17 months, keeping the sand moist. Check to see have any of the holly sprouted at that time, and if they have, transfer them to 7.5 centimeter pots filled with peat-free compost. Our second activity is planting pieces of rhubarb crown now. What you have to do is we're going to plant the piece of the rhubarb crown in a container, and this has to be really rich mixture here because the rhubarb is going to be here for a good number of years. So I really do have to have the best of a mixture, and and a pot that's able to take the roots. So this one is it's about 50 centimeters in diameter and about 50 centimeters deep, but 40 to 50 will do. 40 centimeters in diameter and 40 centimeters deep. So you need to put in a mixture of well-rotted dung and John Innes number 3, which is a very rich compost, and just mix them together. I have drainage holes in the bottom, of course, and I've covered them with plenty of grit. So make sure to have a rich mixture. Then you get the piece of the rhubarb crown. You can see it has budded here, and what you do then is you make a hole in the compost, in the mixture of John Innes dung, and I also have some peat-free compost here as well, and some homemade compost. So I have a good mix inside in this. Now, some people are planted just barely above the surface of the soil, and I think that's okay, but some people planted with the bud just below the soil level. It really is up to yourself. I'm inclined to, so I can see where it is, just have it slightly proud of the soil, of the mixture like this. Right? Feed every spring with a general purpose fertilizer, and do not let it dry out. Keep it in a sunny place, and then you harvest in the second year after planting, between April and July. So our next activity is feeding birds in your garden in the winter. Now, some people feed them all year round, and I don't know is that a good idea, getting birds dependent on your garden. However, I feed them only from November to March, because this is a time when food is scarce. Feeding birds is just not a question of throwing out any kind of scraps when they're available. Feeding must be consistent, and hygienic standards must be observed. Some of the food that you can feed birds are sunflower hearts. These are actually better than sunflower seeds because the husks have been removed and they're not as messy. Messy bird feeders can attract rodents, so hygiene is hugely important. And then we have a seed here for seed-eating birds, which is excellent and full of nourishment. Niger seeds, brilliant for birds. And then you have fat cakes here, or fat balls, which you can buy commercially. And later I'll be showing you how to make your own. So it's important to provide fresh, clean water for them daily as well, and they use the water for drinking and bathing. So to feed birds, you must have suitable feeders to dispense the food. Here is a simple one which we're going to make from a recycled 2 litre soft drink bottle. To make a simple recycled hanging bird feeder, you will need hand drill and a vise. The hand drill must have a bit of wood, one for wood here, which is 10 millimeter in diameter, makes 10 millimeter diameter holes. I used soft drinks bottles, the one I have here. This is 2 litres. Unsalted peanuts, which again are a great food to give birds because they're full of protein. And a piece of string about 20 centimeters long, and short pieces of bamboo. They're about 25 centimeters long. What you do is you lightly clamp the bottle, this one here, in a vise, and then using the drill here fitted with a 10 millimeter in diameter flat drill piece, flat bit, sorry, used to drill holes in wood, make holes in the bottle. Then drill 2 holes opposite one another on the top and in the middle and in the bottom for the perches. Remove the cap when you have that done. You can, well, before that, put in the perches so that they're opposite one another. I just have 2 of them in. I'll put in this one here, like that. There we go. And then get your unsalted peanuts. Very therapeutic, very mindful exercise here. Filling the bottle to the top with peanuts. And then when it's full, just replace the cap here like that. And you can see I have more holes in this part of the bottle than up here, because this part will be used more by birds later on. And we put a string round it like this, and then we can hang it up the bird feeder, or we can hang it somewhere, maybe outside a window where you or our children can look out and observe the different birds feeding on it. Change the location regularly just to ensure good hygiene.
Feeding birds in winter. A bird table in the garden or the school grounds is very important. Hygiene is also important. And check daily to see if there is uneaten food on the ground. Sunflower seeds are rich in protein and unsaturated fats. These seeds are small and black, and they are a good source of fat and oil. Peanuts are also very good. Make sure you use ones from a reliable source. Apples and pears have high water content and give birds energy. These are some food for the table that are full of fat. Grated cheese on a bird table is also good. What children can make to feed birds, and there's a website. More resources here for clay bird feeder.
You can buy a bird table, but you can also make your own with a few simple requirements. First of all, I use marine ply here, which doesn't rot. You'll need some thin lats. You need a post, like one that you have for trees. And you need an upturned flower pot or an upturned biscuit tin. So all you have to do is use the lats here. Make sure to have space or a gap in the corners to make it easy to clean. And it should be cleaned at least once a week using a very weak disinfectant solution. Maybe 5% of the mixture of the solution should be disinfectant. And the bird table should be moved around about once a month for hygienic purposes so that diseases won't build up. Good idea to scald it with hot water as well every now and again, just to get rid of any disease that might have accumulated. And very simple, all you do is just screw this on here to the post, and you put it in your garden. You can put it in a place where you can observe it from a window. Don't have it too near a tree where a cat could jump off, or maybe a rodent might do it. But have it near some kind of a shrub or tree so that the birds can have it perched, but not too near. At least a few meters away. Why have I got this upturned flower pot? You can also use an upturned biscuit tin as well. It's to deter cats from climbing up, attacking your birds. Also rodents, it will prevent them, and squirrels from climbing up onto the bird table. Just make sure to keep hygiene standards very high. Do not leave a seed scattered around. Make sure it's all gone, and use the hearts of the sunflowers, which are not messy, and you'll have great fun over the winter observing birds and looking after them and caring for them in your garden. We have a video on how to make a bird table yourself. There is no need to buy an expensive bird table for the school garden. A very good one can be made from waste materials. You will need a piece of timber, an old steel tubular pipe, a socket for above, a piece of wood about 6 centimeters square, piece of wood about 2.5 centimeters square and 5 centimeters long, lengths of lat, wood glue, axe, hammer and panel pins. Tack the pieces of lat to the platform. There will be spaces at the corners to allow for drainage and cleaning. Hold the 6 centimeter piece of wood in the center of the platform. Screw a chrome socket into the opposite side to attach the tubular pipe. Pair the side of the 2.5 centimetre piece to fit into the top of the tubular pipe. Hammer the 2.5 centimetre piece into the tubular pipe. Apply glue to the piece of wood in the tubular pipe. Insert the tubular pipe into the socket beneath the platform. Insert the bird table into the ground and move it around the garden regularly for hygiene. It is very important in your garden to provide water for the birds, for drinking and for bathing during the winter. You can buy one yourself in a garden centre or some other place like that. You can also make one, and this one here is made from a dustbin lid, as you can see, and I have a mix in here which you can look at the video and you can see how to make one yourself. To make sure that the water is kept clean, check it daily. Leaves and that can accumulate in it and dirty it. So make sure it's the water is fresh and clean daily, and again move it around the garden at least every month so that diseases and that don't build up around it. Birds need to bathe regularly to ensure that their feathers are in peak condition. A bird bath will do this, and it will also be used for drinking. You will need a lid of a refuse bin or something like it, old bricks, 5 kilograms of ready mix cement and a paint scraper. Cover the lid with a light coating of cement. When it hardens, it will provide a secure footing for the birds. Place the lid on the bricks to keep it off the ground. Position the bird bath near trees or shrubs so that the birds have perches for shaking off excess moisture. Pour water into the bath to a depth of about 7.5 centimetres. Too much water can actually drown the birds. Make sure to change it regularly. So to continue on with our theme of feeding birds in winter, we've already mentioned some of the food that you can supply, like nitre, seeds, hearts of sunflowers and unsalted peanuts, these are all excellent foods for birds during the winter. Also grated cheese attracts birds, and apples as well. This is a nice one to do with your children or your young people in the house. It's just to make bird feeders from apples, which are sliced in two. And then you get the sunflower hearts and take them up. Very, very mindful exercise. You just press them gently into the apple like that. Press them in well, otherwise they'll fall out. And you can make nice patterns, as you can see the two I've made here. Then all you need is a piece of string to tie it around it like this, and just to hang it up maybe on a gate or maybe off a bird feeder, maybe on a hook somewhere in the garden, somewhere where you can watch them and the children can watch them as well. So those are very easy to make. Another nice activity to do with children is providing fat for the birds during the winter, to provide them with heat. So don't use cooking fat or margarine or anything like that, because when it's melted, believe it or not, it sticks to the bird's feathers that's not a good idea. And they need their feathers nice and loose. So the best thing to use is suet or lard. Sometimes you get the lard, it can be shredded like this, and that's fine. But suet or lard are suitable. Now for children, the safest way to make a bird cake, and as I say, you can buy them commercially, but you can make your own as well. The safest way is to get the suet and to get your mixture of seeds like peanuts or raisins or Niger seeds or the sunflower hearts, and mix them up in a ratio of 1 lard to 3 of the food mixture. In this case, what I did was I left the suet out I mixed up the whole lot together, as you can see, but I left it in a room at room temperature, and when the suet started to get soft, I mixed it up like this. Really lovely thing to do, as you can see, like that. You can knead it and squidge it and all kinds of things with it like that, you can see here. Look. And then what you can get the children to do is to pack it into, this is a paper cup here which I have, pound it into them like that. Great fun, great to do on a winter's day. Really providing fat is essential in the garden for birds during the winter to keep them warm. So what do I do next? Having stuffed them into the cup, leave it in the fridge for a while until it all hardens up. It's a good idea before you do that to actually put a string, as you can see in this one. Just make a hole in the bottom and put a string in through it so that you can hang it off something like this one. What we did here was this particular one. This is wouldn't be, we showed the children, but don't let them to do it because you need boiling water for this. So what you do is you mix up the whole mixture again with the suet and lard, and then boil it up in the on the cooker, and then pour the mixture, the hot mixture, into a container. But a good idea again is to have a string through it, as you can see what happened here. The string, we put a string in through a hole in the bottom, we tied a knot in it so that you can hang it up. What I did was, having put the mixture in and like this, I put it into the fridge or freezer, you can put it in, so it's ready to hang for the birds. As you can see, the homemade one and the commercial one. Great fun to make these in your garden. Then attracting birds for the rest of the year is important as well. Make your garden bird friendly. Any plants with berries on them, like holly, is excellent for birds, like thrushes and blackbirds. Absolutely love the holly berries. One that's non-native to Ireland, but the birds love it indeed, is this one, pyracantha. Kind of thorny, but doesn't matter. And then you have cotoneaster, which is has red berries on it. This one. Those are all very good. And of course, ivy is one of the best plants for birds, because ivy produces its berries at this time of the year, from now until well into the spring, and that's why it's so useful for birds, because they have a ready supply of food. You can see the black berries on it, which you can see on your walks at this time of the year. Probably the best of all for biodiversity in your garden, for the attracting birds, is a native hedgerow, because you'll have all kinds of shrubs in it full of berries, like honeysuckle and like blackberries and bramble and all of those things. But down at the bottom you'll have leaf litter, and birds love at this time of the year foraging in the leaf litter. You'll often see robins and blackbirds, and they're foraging in it for invertebrates at this time of the year. Also use the native hedgerow for nesting. So native hedgerow, and we have quite a bit on native hedgerows in the blog in our Engage with Nature website, www.engagewithnature.ie. We also have a PowerPoint on attracting birds to your garden and feeding birds in your garden.
Attracting birds to your garden with the correct plants. Rowans, silver birches, willow and crab apples are very good for attracting birds. The rowan is most helpful for certain types of birds. The silver birch also attracts certain birds. The willow hosts lots of caterpillars and insects for birds. Crabapple, fruit eaten by blackbirds, thrushes and starlings and members of the crow family. There are native shrubs like hawthorn, holly, ivy and honeysuckle. There's also non-native shrubs. Blackbirds, thrushes and waxwings love cotoneaster. Climbers are good in the garden. Of course, a wildflower meadow and sunflowers are excellent for birds.
Some people get confused with all the birds that arrive in the garden during the winter. It's nice to be able to identify the main ones, and if you have children, these are excellent, these soft toys here, which you can get from birdwatchireland.ie or the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds in England. Not alone do they have the correct colours of the birds, like here we have a blue tit with the blue crown here, and the blue tail and the blue tips on the wings, and the yellowish type of breast. But they also make sounds for identifying the birds. You can also go into the RSPB site in England, and it displays short videos on bird sounds. Excellent. And here we have the great tit, as you can see again, a black crown, blackish beak, bluish rump and tail, and the same with the wings. And then the great tit has this great big black stripe here along the breast. And then we have a goldfinch, as you can see here, with the red and black and white crown on it and a yellowish beak, and then the wings are black with yellow on them. Rump is white and the tail is white and black here. And there you have the goldfinch, and here you have the chaffinch, which is one of our commonest birds, and a lot of people don't recognise them. Again, look at the grey crown here, look at the cheeks, orangey cheeks on it. Then you have black rump here, this part is the rump, the black tail, and you have black and white on the wings, very distinctive black and white marks here on the wings, and an orangey type of breast. So if you have children, best toy you can give them, really, is it a toy? The best thing for Christmas you can give children, I think, or that they can get ordered from Santa, are these binoculars here, children's binoculars. They will get hours of fun from these lightweight binoculars, which you can buy in most of the outdoor shops dedicated to outdoor pursuits. They are excellent, easy to maneuver, much better than the big heavy ones that an adult might have. And then bird survey. While you're doing that, looking at birds, maybe set up a bird observation station inside a window, but the station should be provided with binoculars, bird identification book, this one here from Collins, Irish Birds here, and a survey sheet. This is the Irish Garden Bird Survey 2020-2021. This is an excellent activity for both adults and children to do every week. You just look at the most species of a particular bird in your garden during the week. So if you saw 2 blue tits in your garden on a Monday, and 3 on a Tuesday, and 5 on a Wednesday, and 1 on Thursday, and 1 on Friday, and 2 on Saturday, and 3 on Sunday, you record 5, because that's the highest number you have seen in the week. It's very simple, and you get a grid and just mark them in. You can do it online if you wish, but an excellent activity. So your bird observation station inside has got these kind of items on it, and of course outside it has a bird table, hanging bird feeder, and some apples strewn on the ground, and maybe some grated cheese. We have 3 PowerPoints on identifying birds. One is a general one is identifying birds from their beaks. They all have beaks adapted to their environment, and another PowerPoint on identifying birds by their feet, and birds' feet are adapted to the environment in which they live.
Bird identification. Become familiar with the parts of a bird. Setting up a bird observation station, and here are some of the details. This station has plenty of bird identification posters. A number of children's binoculars should be placed at the station. Here are websites with good identification guides. Some more websites here for guides. And these websites show bird ID tests. Birds' feet are adapted to their environment. There are different types of feet according to the species of bird. Birds' feet are used for walking, running, perching, grabbing, paddling. A heron's foot has long toes so it can spread its weight around and not sink in the mud. Wading birds have webbed feet to help them move through the water. An ostrich's foot has only 2 toes. These are long, strong and flat to help them run fast on sand. Eagles, falcons, kestrels and hawks have strong feet called talons. Many birds cling onto branches and overhead wires using the 3 forward toes to grip. Birds' beaks are adapted for their survival. The top part of a hooked beak is curved and pointed for biting and tearing at flesh. These beaks are short and strong and cone-shaped. These beaks are thin and pointy for picking up insects and for finding spiders. Spear beaks are sharp and spear or dagger shaped for catching fish. These beaks are for taking in mouthfuls of mud and then filtering out the creatures. These beaks are for digging into soil and catching earthworms. These beaks are long and thin for inserting into flowers and taking out the sweet nectar.
So, continuing with our theme of observing birds, and especially if you have young people, you can make a bird hide. This is a simple activity and it's made from a huge cardboard box. In this case, you can see I have the bird hide with an entrance at the back. And this really only suitable for be 1 child or 2. And here I have a slot here like a letter box for looking out at the garden. You can paint it green or any other colours that sort of match in with the surroundings. Again, you have to watch for the weather, of course. You can cover it with plastic when the weather maybe gets wet, or bring it indoors. If you want to make a more elaborate one, you can use one with poles on it, like this one, poles in the corner. And again, the beauty of this one is that when you embed it into the ground and tie strings onto it, onto stones, it prevents it from being blown away. And you can make a big one for several children to observe birds in your garden. And again, be mindful of the rain, cover it with polythene if it's going to rain, so you need 4 pieces there and a piece for the top. And there again you can see the stakes, and then this one here doesn't have any stakes onto it because it will be tied on like that. You can make a fine big bird hide for children, even for yourself, to observe birds in your garden. Bird boxes. It's a good idea to put these in situ in December so that the potential nesters can get used to them. However, it's important to remember that different birds will require different nest boxes for rearing their young. For example, blue tits and coal tits, they require an entrance hole of 25 millimeters. Grey tits, on the other hand, need an entrance hole of 20 8 millimeters. And sparrows, house sparrows, require an entrance hole of 32 millimeters. If you go on to the Birdwatch Ireland website, they have lots of information there on the different types of bird boxes for the different types of birds. So it's important as well to remember the orientation of the bird box. If you face it north, the birds won't be attracted to it. It'll be too cold for the fledglings. On the other hand, if you face it south, it'll be too warm. They'll be roasted. And if you face it west, not a good idea at all, because you learned in your geography that the prevailing wind comes from the southwest and that it brings lots of rain. So the little fledglings would be drenched. The driest orientation would be east. Now, east itself is fine. I usually put them southeast, facing southeast, because they get a little bit of warmth. Or northeast is excellent as well for facing your bird box. We have a video showing you how to erect a bird box in winter. Site bird boxes in December so that birds will get used to them. Face it east, southeast or northeast. Fix the box in place using copper or galvanized nails about 1.5 to 1.8 meters from the ground. Tilt it slightly forward to protect it from rain. Check regularly before nesting season to see if it is dry. So thank you for being with us for the December presentation from the Kildare County Council's Healthy Ireland programme for 2020. We hope that the activities we have provided for you in December will ensure that you stay active, that you keep connected, that you switch off, that you eat well, and that you mind your mood. And we look forward to seeing you in January, when we will be showing you how to grow broad beans and garlic, how to chit new potatoes, how to continue monitoring and feeding birds. And again, we wish you a very happy Christmas 2020.